This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
Aside from asking a person to pack up, the city of Moses Lake has no way to enforce an ordinance passed Tuesday night that prohibits camping during the day.
Groundbreaking research released this month has revealed that wild bee populations are thriving in areas where severe forest fires have impacted the landscape.
What plant is that? What bug is that? What the heck kind of bird is that? The Chelan Douglas Land Trust is here to answer those questions.
Washington State Department of Transportation and state leaders this week are remembering 60 state highway workers who have died on the job.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
Aside from asking a person to pack up, the city of Moses Lake has no way to enforce an ordinance passed Tuesday night that prohibits camping during the day. The Moses Lake City Council voted 6-1 to ban camping from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in open public spaces. But the council removed a portion of the ordinance that would have allowed for civil infractions to be issued for violators. As it was pointed out by Councilmember Ryan Leonard, who first suggested removing the infractions portion of the ordinance, the city cannot take any enforcement action against people camping during the day.
That is my whole problem with this ordinance, is the penalties. I understand that if we don't have penalties, there's no way to enforce it, there's no teeth to it, but I really dislike the penalties.
Moses Lake Police Chief Kevin Fuhr says officers will request violators obey the new rules, but if the violator refuses, there's no avenue to force campers to leave. While Moses Lake's ordinance banning camping in city parks and closing parks overnight allows for police to criminally trespass violators, the city does not have that option under the ordinance passed Tuesday night. City Manager John Williams said staff is seeking clarification from the city attorney to determine if the city is allowed to seize camping items if they are left for a certain amount of time. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by...
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination, from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
Groundbreaking research released this month has revealed that wild bee populations are thriving in areas where severe forest fires have impacted the landscape. The study was conducted by researchers at the Oregon State University College of Forestry over a 2-year period and published last week in the journal Ecosphere. Its findings are the first ever to indicate that the level of wildfire severity within a region is a strong predictor of bee volume and diversity. Animal pollinators like wild bees affect the propagation of roughly 90% of the flowering plants on Earth, including many cash crops, making them of critical importance to the world's estimated $100 billion agrarian-based economy. Scientists trapped bees at 43 locations across an area of 50,000 acres in southern Oregon that was blackened by a severe wildfire in 2013. Their samples showed there were 20 times more individual bees present and 11 times more bee species captured in places which had recently experienced a higher severity of wildfire activity when compared to those that had been impacted by fires of a lower magnitude. Project researchers concluded this contrast is due to the fact that impacts from a less severe fire are typically confined to low-growing vegetation where wild bees are found in greater numbers, whereas more severe blazes tend to strike in places with a more open canopy and cause fewer impacts to the forest understory. The research also supports mounting scientific evidence that a greater amount of overall biodiversity is commonly found in forests which are sterile or at the beginning stages of their development or redevelopment. Reporting for iFIBER 1 News, I'm Chris Hansen.
This segment is brought to you by...
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
What plant is that? What bug is that? What the heck kind of bird is that? The Chelan Douglas Land Trust is here to answer those questions for people using the Sage Land Trail systems around Wenatchee. This week, the nonprofit group published its Wenatchee Area Field Guide, a rugged digest of all the life forms you're likely to encounter on your way through Sage Hills, Horse Lake, Saddle Rock, or the Wenatchee River banks.
We get calls all the time, we get photos sent all the time. I've seen a real hunger for this kind of product.
Susan Ballinger with the Wenatchee Naturalist Program researched and wrote the text for the guide, priced at $8.95, with sales going to finance future printings. The pocket guide profiles more than 100 native plants, insects, birds, and other animals.
I was careful to go to a couple like entomologists who really know insects to say, hey, what would be the best insects to put in here? I knew the plants pretty well, and I knew the birds, and I checked with others about the different groups. So the whole idea is, what are you most likely to see?
Get your guide at the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce, Pybus Market, and Arlberg Sports, and then get outside and use it. That's a SageGrouse, by the way. Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
If you're wondering why a twisted ball of wreckage surrounded by traffic barrels sits across from the state capitol in Olympia, here's why. Washington State Department of Transportation and state leaders this week are remembering 60 state highway workers who have died on the job. The wreckage of a DOT vehicle, the result of a March collision in which a semi-truck smashed into it on State Route 3 in Kitsap County, is displayed on Capitol Way this week. The driver of the truck was working away and was not injured in the crash that pushed the vehicle 150 feet into a drill truck, crushing it like a soda pop can. DOT officials who conducted a memorial ceremony for the workers on Wednesday say it's a reminder to drivers about the importance of being safe in work zones. It comes as the busy spring and summer construction season begins. Washington State Lieutenant Governor Cyrus Habib, Secretary of Transportation Roger Miller, and Washington State Patrol Chief John Batiste were among state leaders at the ceremony. They stressed the importance of driver safety and awareness in DOT construction zones. DOT officials say the top 3 causes of work zone crashes in Washington are distracted, inattentive driving, following too closely, and speeding, all of which are preventable. I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.